The ocean, a vast and often unforgiving frontier, has always held our greatest dreams and darkest secrets. It's a silent graveyard of empires, a keeper of history, and the final resting place of fortunes beyond imagination. For centuries, one of these fortunes lay untouched and forgotten beneath the shimmering waters of the Florida Straits, a testament to a long-forgotten tragedy. This is the story of the Nuestra Señora de Atocha, a Spanish galleon that sank in a fierce hurricane in 1622, and the man who dedicated his life to bringing her treasure back to the light. It's a tale of unimaginable wealth, heartbreak, and an unshakable belief that fueled one of the most incredible treasure hunts in history. The Doomed Galleon. The year is 1622. Spain's power is at its zenith, fueled by the vast riches pouring in from its colonies in the New World. In Havana, a fleet of 28 ships, heavy with the spoils of the Americas, prepared to make the long, perilous journey back to Spain. The flagship of the Tierra Firme fleet was the Nuestra Señora de Atocha, a 550-ton galleon. She was a floating treasury, laden with an astonishing cargo of gold, silver, copper, indigo, and tobacco. On board were 160,000 pesos of silver for private investors, a king's ransom in coins, and over 1,000 gold and silver bars. But her most stunning treasure was the emeralds, mined in Colombia and destined for the Queen of Spain, a haul so vast it would be valued at over $1 billion in today's currency. The voyage began inauspiciously. Delays had plagued the fleet, and it was now well into September, a notoriously dangerous time for sailing in the Caribbean. Just 2 days out of Havana, the fleet was struck by a powerful hurricane. The storm's fury was immediate and absolute. The ships were scattered like toys, and by the next day, a third of the fleet had been lost. The Atocha, along with her sister ship, the Santa Margarita, sank quickly. She was slammed into a reef, her hull shattered, before plunging 55 feet to the seabed. Of the 265 people on board, only 5 survived, clinging to the shattered mast that briefly remained above the waves. The galleon's priceless cargo, the king's fortune and the personal wealth of countless passengers, was now a legend, buried in the churning sand. The Spanish made repeated attempts to salvage the wreck in the years that followed, even dispatching divers to the site. But another hurricane soon swept through, destroying the salvage efforts and scattering the remaining wreckage. The Atocha, the most wanted shipwreck in history, was lost to the sea for good. Or so everyone thought. The Dreamer of the Deep. Enter Mel Fisher. Born in Indiana, Fisher was a man of boundless optimism and a perpetual tan. He was not a historian or an archaeologist, he was a dreamer with a deep passion for the ocean. After a stint as a chicken farmer and a hardware store owner, he moved to Florida with his family and opened a dive shop. The ocean was his calling, and the thrill of discovery was his addiction. Fisher's lifelong quest began not with a grand vision, but with a simple piece of paper. A historical document, a Spanish map, gave him a tantalizing hint about the location of a sunken galleon. But it was the story of the Atocha and her legendary treasure that truly captured his imagination. It was a long shot, a crazy idea, but Mel Fisher believed with every fiber of his being that he could find her. With his wife Dolores Deo Fisher and their 4 children, he started his company, Treasure Salvers Incorporated, and began the long search. 16 years of heartbreak and hope. The journey that followed was a 16-year odyssey of monumental proportions. It was a quest fraught with challenges that would have broken a lesser man. The search was a financial black hole. To fund the operation, Fisher sold shares in his company to friends, family, and strangers who were captivated by his infectious optimism. But the money was never enough. They lived on a shoestring budget, their boats were often in disrepair, and they were constantly on the brink of bankruptcy. To find a needle in an oceanic haystack, Fisher and his team had to get creative. They used the historical records to narrow down the search area, poring over ancient ships' manifests and letters from survivors. They developed a brilliant, low-tech solution for clearing sand from the seabed, the mailbox. It was a simple metal tube that attached to the end of a boat's propellers, directing the prop wash downward to create a powerful stream of water that could clear a 100-foot crater in the sand in minutes. This ingenious device, combined with custom-built magnetometers that could detect large masses of ferrous metal, became their primary tool. But the sea is an unforgiving mistress, and the quest came at an unimaginable personal cost. In 1975, after years of searching, they found a small part of the Atocha's treasure, 5 bronze cannons, which proved they were in the right vicinity. This was the moment of hope. But just a few days later, tragedy struck. One of their salvage boats capsized, taking the lives of Mel Fisher's son, Dirk, his daughter-in-law, Angel, and a diver named Rick Gage. For a moment, it seemed the dream was over, shattered by grief. But Fisher, in his darkest hour, resolved to continue. He believed that the only way to honor their memory was to find what they had died searching for. For another decade, they continued the search, driven by a deep-seated conviction. Their mantra, repeated daily by Fisher himself, became, "Today's the day." It was a phrase of defiance against the endless years of fruitless searching, a beacon of hope in the face of despair. They found bits and pieces, a silver bar here, a few coins there, but the main shipwreck, the fabled mother lode, remained elusive. The mother lode. Then, on July 20th, 1985, a day that finally became the day, the dream became a reality. A call came over the radio from his son Kane Fisher, who was heading the search on the salvage boat Dauntless. "Put away the charts," he shouted. "We've got the mother lode." The team had located the main wreckage of the Atocha, and what they found was beyond their wildest imagination. The call, now a famous part of treasure hunting lore, was a moment of pure, unadulterated triumph. The discovery was mind-boggling. Over the next several years, Fisher's team brought up an incredible haul of treasure. The cargo included over 40 tons of gold and silver, 100,000 silver coins, and thousands of priceless artifacts, including the king's royal emeralds, some of which were larger than a grown man's thumb. The value was estimated at a staggering $500 million, making it the most significant sunken treasure find in history. A new battle. But the battle wasn't over. As soon as the news broke, the state of Florida moved in to claim the treasure, arguing it belonged to the state. This led to a bitter, 8-year legal battle that went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. The court ruled in favor of Mel Fisher, confirming his ownership of the treasure. It was a victory not just for him, but for all private salvors, establishing a legal precedent for future treasure hunts. Mel Fisher's life story is a powerful reminder that history is not just found in books, it's hidden in the world around us, waiting to be rediscovered by those with the courage and patience to look. His legacy lives on at the Mel Fisher Maritime Museum in Key West, which displays the incredible artifacts from the Atocha and continues to inspire future generations of adventurers. It's a tribute to a man who, despite every setback and tragedy, never gave up on his dream. He proved that sometimes, the greatest treasures are not the gold and silver, but the sheer willpower it takes to find them.